Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ian Liliana here, musician, environmentalist, human rights activist, werewolf, LGBTQIA icon, proud owner of Mars Now, the space agency, and Green Future Go, corporation for the protection of werewolves, vampires, and mutants, like myself. Smoothie break. So terrible, but it's good for you. As you can see, I'm getting a little bit better. I hadn't been taking care of myself. I've just been super stressed. And my PTSD is at 11. Like, I don't know what is going on here where, like, women just keep pressing on me, pressing near me. And it's like, it's obvious that they're doing it. And I just don't understand why. This thing, the Werewolf Academy, which I didn't even put in the description. Ah. But yes, Werewolf Academy is happening next week. Ah, that's pretty soon. But it needs to happen. It really does. I'm going to explain a few things here. This welfare, this welfare awakening that I'm trying to bestow upon people is more of a community bind. I cannot speak English. I cannot speak English. I'm just too fucking stressed. I'm too fucking stressed. I try to go into my building and there's a woman blocking it, but she works here, so I have to say, "Oh yeah, I mean that does. I mean that sets off my PTSD." But you're doing your job, so I mean, what am I gonna say? Like I feel like you did that shit on purpose because that's how I feel as a veteran with PTSD. I have PTSD from military sexual trauma, and I'm sorry, that just doesn't go away overnight or anything, and it never goes away. it doesn't go away. It just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And I left LA because it was just getting worse. And I'm in San Francisco, but I'm not in Castro District. I can afford to be in Castro District. I didn't think, well, gee, why don't I just park myself in the middle of. Oh, thank you, Victor, for saying something nice while I sneeze my last remaining brain cell. I just I can't stand it. I really can't. Because this is fucking ridiculous to me. Like every single time that I'm gonna be near a guy or around a guy or whatever, I get a PTSD trigger of, you know, can I be like in your space? And it's just like, no, it's just I have PTSD. I don't really like that. But I was trying to talk about Werewolf Academy, and every time I tried to, I never expound upon it correctly. I'm trying to instill a sense of community back in men. Women have community. Women have had community and maintained it for centuries. Men, on the other hand, just let society chip away at any connection with each other. Why would they do that? Because when two men get together, I mean, I know bomb chicka wow wow, but it's a little bit deeper than that. They bond in a way where they can depend on each other. They can, say to each other, "Hey, we can be roommates," or you could borrow my car instead of having to purchase another car. You start to say to yourself, "Well, why don't a group of friends like go on holiday together and save money instead of just going on separate holidays where you overspend to compensate for the fact that you're alone?" I'm going to train men how to be werewolves. Why? Because that's who we are. That's who we used to be. We used to be pack minded. We used to live in villages. We used to be able to say, I've known you for years. I've smelled you. I've sat next to you. I've slept next to you. I know who you are. I trust you. As opposed to, well, gee, we were on, the internet. We met up one time. We hooked up, or maybe we didn't hook up, but then we laughed about it. And then we say, well, let's just be friends because it was awkward. And then we just kind of kept going that way. And that's how gay people are fucking operating. Then they're not operating on this level of, I really need to find people that I can depend upon, people that I can trust. I, as the gay Batman of Twitch, I bestowed upon a very worthy Twitch gay streamer, some much needed capital in order to continue his business of preaching the truth about sexual revolution. And for that effort, he said, you know what, I'm going to do some sit ups. And I don't want to call him out. I really don't, because he's a nice person, but he doesn't know how to do sit ups. He's a gay person who doesn't know how to do sit ups. And maybe it's because I'm a veteran, but even as a veteran, I'm like, I'm not, I wake up at 0500 and do 100 push-ups. I'm not that person either. But it bothers me on a intrinsic level that he was trying to be cute about it, but he didn't want to commit to being manly, grunt a little, struggle a little on camera, and get through a sit up. So instead, he did crunches, but they were terrible. They were terrible crunches, and it's cute and adorable and everything, but it was it was terrible fitness. And I look at that and I say, is that all gay people are doing right now? They go to the gym, they buy these gym memberships where it's like, oh yeah, and then for the extra amenities, you get facials. I'm sorry. You get massages. You get this gym bag. You get all this swag, and then on top of that, the supplements that all these gay people are taking. But then you ask them, well, can you do a squat? And they don't know how to do a squat. I'm not trying to put down my people, but I'm worried. I'm worried because doing a squat correctly might save your life. I've been a victim of hate crimes twice in Los Angeles. And throughout my life, I've always been bullied for being gay or bisexual or whatever. I mean, I have to say more gay than bisexual because with all this PTSD bullshit, and I say bullshit because, I'm just so uncomfortable by, what's been going on that it's just difficult for me. It really is. Because there's a part of me that says I would just be happier finding a girlfriend than finding a boyfriend because women are smarter. I mean, look, I know facts. Women are just smarter in several ways. They're more caring, they're more empathetic, they're everything. It's just that with that military sexual trauma, it's just like a no starter for me. So I'm missing out. I really am missing out. I see people, their couples, they have their little brood, their progeny, and I just say, well, you know what? That probably would have been me too if the whole idea of being touched in an intimate way by a woman didn't make my skin crawl. So what can I do about that? I invited this particular gay streamer to my Werewolf Academy. I'm not trying to like put him down or anything. I'm just saying, like, I want to put you in a situation where you feel comfortable, but also you're activating your muscles and getting the tone that you want. because it's cute to put into, your list of things that you will do for money, that you will work out for money. But if you're not really working out, I mean, then, then what do you really gain out of it? Because people can give you money, but you have to give yourself health. And beyond health, you have to give yourself community. We take for granted all the time that in San Francisco they have things like the Castro District where you can be as gay as you want. But it's more of, are you sure? Are you sure? Because there's nothing really to prevent the wrong straight person ruining your day there. I was in his chat and he was talking about how he was at a gay bar, and well, actually no, it was somebody in the chat. Somebody in the chat was at a gay bar and a woman grabbed him and then tried to flirt with him or whatever, and he was gay, so he didn't want it, and she just wasn't taking no for an answer, and then she assaulted him over it and slapped him. And I could just say, well, why are you there? Why are you there? Because if you behave like that, you're not an ally. Because an ally would just say, look, I am here as a fly on the wall. I will sip my drink and shut the fuck up. This is not my room. This is not my space. This is not my community. That's what I want from straight allies. Like, don't say you sympathize with the struggle because you don't know what the struggle is. You've never had to experience that. So there is no equivalency. They're not our allies. Smoothie break. Hmm. So, in order to save gay people from this fate of being invaded, having their sacred spaces violated, either by violence or by obtrusive straight people, I said, let me form this Werewolf Academy. So I'm going to teach gay people how to move properly, how to work out properly, and foster this community of a wolf pack where you say things like, I don't have to eat alone. I don't have to worry about what I'm doing for the evening. I made a conscious decision to work on my body and to do a sport because I'll be teaching them grappling and wrestling, Greco Roman style. Smoothie break for the heart. We talk about the Olympics as if those are just another species. The people who compete in that, oh, those are superhumans. Not, that's you too, if you make different decisions about how you spend your time and what you put in your body. The idea that you can restore your health by joining a community, a brotherhood of the wolf, more protein, more opportunities to work out, more opportunities to de stress, guaranteed you'll sleep better. I mean, after all, how nice would it be to spend an evening with a bunch of hot, attractive men just like you? I didn't put it in the link. I'll put it in afterwards, I guess. But it's on Eventbrite. If anyone wants to pick up tickets, it's $20 for regular admission. VIP admission is $50 because there is a VIP dinner afterwards. I'm gonna try this out. This is, of if anything, my attempt to reconnect to the male gender, because with all of the PTSD triggers that I have, it just becomes harder and harder to justify even being gay, because it puts me in a situation where my PTSD would be triggered, and I don't know if I really want to risk that anymore. I think I'm at a crossroads where if this goes well, then great. I might be able to heal a little bit, because I think this is what I've been missing. No psychologist or psychiatrist is going to tell you when you suffer military sexual trauma, American torture by the government, that you need to learn to trust again. You need to build trust again. That's hard. That is really, really hard, because once trust is broken on that level, it is almost impossible to repair. So I have to do more in order to repair the damage of being sexually abused by the United States government. Werewolf Academy is going to be a series of fitness workshops. I'm going to try and do more sport than anything else, because I think that's what we're missing. We're missing putting the gay back into sports, the happiness, the brotherhood. I know that for many gay people, gay history started at the Stonewall riots, and they don't go far enough back to Sparta or even Athens. This whole idea that, yeah, I mean, I guess it was more military based, but there is something to, who these people are, and they fight with you, they fight for you. Gay people are being slighted left and right. Not just gay people, lesbian and transgender. And I don't know, I was playing Arc Raiders. I got to finally play it. I bought it on Steam, and I'm trying to get it on GeForce now to go, up and running. And I get to the part where I'm fighting this giant mechanized creature, and it reminded me of the War of the Worlds. Like, it's one of the best movies that Tom did, and I always liked it because the subtext of it is just brilliant. As a writer, I love things where it seems like an innocuous turn of phrase or just a line on a page, but when you really think about it, it's so much more. Watching the aliens use their infrared steam ray on the populace, and it changed me. It changed how I looked at the world when I saw War of the Worlds with Tom, because I saw that these are people, they were living their lives. Didn't matter how poor, how rich they are. That infrared, came for them, and all that's left is just clothes and like empty jewelry, and you just say to yourself, why are you running in the streets? I mean, true, if it's vaporizing people, to just leave their clothes or whatever, I mean, it could still vaporize through a house. But I did find that odd, that people were just running through the streets instead of trying anything to get to a safe place. or maybe coordinate to fight back. That's all they do, and that's how we live our lives. That's how I live my life for a long, long time. And now I'm just getting to the point where I say, no, you really do have to fight. You really do have to fight for what you believe in. And I know that today is election day, and that should mean something, but it should mean that no matter who's in charge, you still have a say, you still have a voice in this, and you can be a leader. And being a leader doesn't always mean that you have a fancy title or something like that. Maybe you can just be a good leader to your friends. Maybe you can be a leader of your family or a leader at your job. There's many opportunities to be an inspiring person. But I was playing the game, and it's all about fighting this mechanized infection across the land. And yeah, because of the whole red water and all that, it did remind me of War of the Worlds, where Tom goes into the machine itself, and you just see these people huddling in there, and it just had made me think. That's what it means when you say to yourself, "Oh, I finally made it. I finally reached that next level of economic status." Smoothie break. Because now you're on the other side of this metal iron curtain, whatever. But then you look inside of it, and these people are just miserable, absolutely miserable. And why? It's because you might have left the poverty behind, but you also left the community behind. And I know that the Latino community I'm going to call them Latino community, because when you've attacked me for being gay, transgender, non binary, non conforming, you don't get the right to put an X next to your name like you give a shit. So that Latino community and I are just, I still support my people, but I support Native Americans, Indigenous, First Nation people. I had a lovely group of Indigenous people educate me and say, when you call yourself Mexican, it's only, partially correct, because if you did your DNA test, you would see that you're 65% or more Native American Indigenous. And to many people who are brown like me, that's enough. That's enough. You wave a flag that says Mexico on it, and you just say, "I'm celebrating my culture," and it's no, you're not. You're not, because that's not who you are. That's not who you should be. You should be all of you. You should be at least given the opportunity to learn about your heritage. It is Native American History Month, and for your heritage, you really should do some homework. And if you're white or Asian, stuff like that, stuff like that. I admit, I'm a little partial to being indigenous, but if you do have some sort of ethnic background to you, you should always look into your past, because there are parts of that makes sense. I'm going to talk about it. If you're brown like me from being an indigenous, you're not really supposed to eat beef. It's not what your body is made for. You're made for lean meats. Were some Native American indigenous people fat, portly? Yeah, it's a lot easier to get through winter that way. But they're also very strong, also very fast because they're constantly using their body, and that extra roll is great energy for them so that they can do endurance running or something like that to chase down deer. Things that make sense. It doesn't make sense to eat beef when you're Latino, but you're really indigenous because that just clogs your arteries. It slows you down, makes your brain all sluggish. The moment I decided to just stop eating beef and stay true to my roots, it opened up my health to me. I'm supposed to be a medical doctor, but the closer I get to making a decision on that, the further I want to be because I just think they got it wrong. I think that they got a lot of things wrong, and it's easy for them to say, "Oh, you're diagnosed with cancer, and that's terminal," instead of saying, "I don't know enough. I could be doing more medicine, but I don't know enough." Because when they say that, it shows that they're not omnipotent, that something's a little out of their control. But if they, I like to say but instead of just going on to a new sentence. I have terrible English skills. Terrible English skills. I'm sorry. I'm not an orator. I am a veteran who is constantly dealing with PTSD, and just the idea of a woman walking past my door just set off my PTSD again. So I'm just super uncomfortable with all of this, and I don't know. I'm hoping that things will change. Things will change if I make a change. If I make a change. So hopefully this Werewolf Academy goes well. Because if it doesn't, then I mean I guess I'm fucking done with all these. I'll just live as a hermit and not have to deal with such bullshit. But I like to think that there are people out there who could benefit from learning about how to use your body again and learning to love your body. Once you see what it can really do, you see how precious it is. How precious it is. I cannot speak. Wow. Mm. I truly am a special person. I wanted to do a TED talk. I wonder why they didn't even respond. It's like if you could string along one sentence properly, we might consider it. I'm sure. But never even got back to me. I'm not wrong about the idea that environmentalism is important. That conservation of special cases like mutants, werewolves, and vampires might be in our interest because those are the only things that really stand up to government and the consumerism that takes over our lives. I mean, I love tech as much as the next person, but sometimes that tech is even more insidious than people can be. I mean, how many times have I tried to use an Apple iPhone where it locked me out of an app or it filled my app with nonsense, and you just say, well, can I even choose? Like, if Apple was a little bit more transparent and interactive, where you could say, well, okay, I know you use my data for this, but could you let me maybe be involved in the process so I have a user experience which is pleasurable to me, as opposed to, I don't know what the fuck is going on now, where they just took over my X feed. I don't know why they took over my X feed, but they took over my X feed. Like, I'm not going to be happy about being on social media. Do I say and do things that are a bit X rated? Yeah, but that's what life is. I mean, as damaged as I am, I'm still in touch with the fact that, you have to be an adult about things. You can't just tell you it doesn't matter, because it certainly does. It definitely does matter. So, I don't know. Apple has to look at itself, because I just don't like the direction this Apple Intelligence is going. Because it's at the point where I don't know if I want to even continue on with the product. Because you sell me a phone that I guess is intelligent, or maybe just programmed by someone else, because it says stop using it. I'm like, isn't that the opposite of what the point of it is? I will figure it out. It's things like this that make me want to just be a developer and get the account so I can fix it myself, because I'm just so sick and tired of having to use X and be like, why did you do this, Apple? Like, why did you freeze my screen? Or why did you pull this up? Or, I'm not even subscribed to this. Is there a way that you can remove that from my feed? It's like, I don't want X to be a Debbie Downer. I know that there is sad things going on in the world, but I'm already a sad person. Like, could X in social media just be uplifting? Could it be something that is enjoyable, as opposed to, oh, come on, why do I have to look at that? Like, why? It's just like, that makes me miserable. And then you put miserable stuff in a row, and it's just, well, fuck it. I mean, I guess I'll exit out the app, but you know, I was using the app. I mean, I don't care what the Apple Intelligence is trying to achieve. I'm the owner of this machine. I should be able to tell it what to do. And if it doesn't want to do that, then I have to go to Apple and say, why would you make a machine that doesn't want to listen to a human? Personally, I have PTSD, so I don't want to listen to humans, but I do want my machine to listen to me. I ramble and ramble, but I'm just concerned because I look at the world and it's not where it's supposed to be. It just, it could be better. It could be more. I keep talking about things like change.org/clear LA smog, or change.org/save American farmers, or even change.org/Kentucky needs you. Basic things where it's, you live on this planet, you eat their food, do your part. But my country says, No, we don't want to participate in repairing the damage that we've done for years. And that's sad. Because that leaves you in a position of, well, if you're not going to take responsibility for what you do on a daily basis, then why am I here? I mean, as much as California and I are irrevocably linked. By the way, hi, Armani. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the revolution. It's just because I see common sense. I see common sense in California is where I live right now. And also, I had to make a choice between California and the rest of America. California is fucked up. It's some fucked up shit where every time I go outside, I'm having PTSD triggers that make no sense. Or anytime I'm trying to, like, maybe for a half a second, like, for a half a second, when I went outside, there was a guy so rough and tumble. He was a bit of that rough trade, white, like this high, probably does made clearly my type because I like him dirty. And he said hi to me and then complimented me, and I'm like, hi. And that was sandwiched in between with all the women in the area, and like, what the fuck? It wasn't going to go any further than that. But could I have at least one moment of, hmm, like an eyebrow raise, just hmm, a little thing that says, yeah, I'm attractive. Compliment me for being attractive. But they won't let me have that here. They won't let me have that. I get old biddies talking to me about, it's just this and that. I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I want to talk to guys without women just like. I get it. You know, I came out of an abusive relationship. I don't want to go back into an abusive relationship. I don't want to just hitch a trailer to my train wreck of a life. But could I at least enjoy for a fucking second talking to a guy? What the fuck, California, that you won't afford me a fucking iota of gay energy? I don't even know how to say that properly. Gay energy. There you go. Hello. Something. I had a giant fucking bear be like, hello, how are you? Earlier today, and there were like no women about, and I was like, fuck yes. Win. I wasn't gonna do anything. I wasn't gonna follow, him if he crooked his finger and said, come to my bedroom. I'm like, I'm not gonna do any of that. I'm just gonna, just nod and go back to my room. Have a nice wank over it. That's all. Like, let me enjoy that. Let me enjoy that. I'm a damaged person with PTSD. This is as far as things go for me. I'm too damaged to really date. I'm too damaged to try and flirt. All my flirting energy is just evaporated by the women here who just, and it's just, you could do that shit to someone else. Aren't there white people you could do this shit to? California. If I'm really being honest about it, don't you have white people you can bother with this bullshit? Like, all you do is just trigger my PTSD. And I'm like, I'm not that white. I am very white, but I'm not that white. Could you maybe do this to a white person? Because, doing it to me doesn't really do anything for me except make my life miserable. And I don't understand why you want to make my life miserable. If anything, I should be fucking celebrating the fact that I am in San Francisco by going on a sacred pilgrimage to Castro Street. I missed the Folsom Street events and leather balls and all that. But I should be around my own people. But the idea of trying to hop on public transit while, just this overcrowded, over aggressive women thing is just because look, if a man acts the same way, you would call him a jerk. But when a woman decides to be sexually aggressive, you should be able to fucking call them on that. Really should. But like I said, it is what it is. I'm just gonna have to fight harder to make this Wolf Academy thing a success because, like, I'm not the only one who's experiencing it, and we have to fight back. A lot of gay men have their straight ally girls who are best friends and everything, and you spend all the time with them and they're so supportive, and oh, you broke up with your boyfriend, oh well, I'm here for you to talk to you, whatever. And it's, no, that's a fucking parasite that wormed its way into your life and is holding the space where someone could love you. But gay people don't see it that way. They see it as, well, if I didn't have that, then what would I have? Because they grow up in abuse, oppression, and shame. And then when they grow into adults, it's just, they never grow out of that. They never grow out of the same person who's bullied in high school for being gay or teased in college for it. They never grow out of it. They never learn to make good, positive relationships with other men because it's so hard, even with all of the positive gay representation that we have now. People still grow up going through life of, are you gay? Because, I'm not sure I am. Or are you gay? Because, I'm interested and it feels like you're interested too, in this ambiguous thing that they go through. And it's not healthy. It really isn't. Gay men need to learn how to be with gay men again. Because when the world is against you, you need to have a community that has your back. And right now, with everything that's going on, we need to have each other's backs. In a grand sense of all America, but maybe in the gay community they need to do it a little bit harder because they had to go through HIV, they had to go through COVID and monkeypox, and every opportunity for straight people to put them down or keep them from living their truth. You're not gay because you're sassy and you're good with fashion. You're gay because you like having sex with men. And this whole idea that gay men would rather hide behind straight best friends or being pressured by their jobs to conform into a straight world and not be a sexually liberated person is just sad. I hope that I can change that. I hope I can open some eyes to, are you gay? Because you have to love being yourself. You have to love your attraction to men and know that that is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. It's a beautiful thing. And with Werewolf Academy, that's what we're going to do. It'll be grappling, it'll be wrestling, it'll be fitness, it'll be crying. It will be a shoulder to lean on when you're having just a really shit day. And it's a safe space where you can just feel emotions and sexual desire and realize that with everything that's going on, we're oppressing ourselves. I mean, I love my gay streamers on Twitch, but I worry about them all the time. I really do. I worry that they spend so much time on Twitch trying to get subscribers and be as sassy and whatever, that they aren't living a life, that they aren't enjoying what it means to be gay. I mean, you put gay in your content classification as a streamer, but are you really gay when you just press buttons and people watch you press buttons on a screen? Because gay means you let a man love you, you let a man into your heart. I love video games, I really do. But where is where's the other side of it? Where is the reality to balance out the fantasy that you live in a video game? Something I think about. Smoothie break. Oh, and if things are actually successful, then I plan on doing a few events here in San Francisco and opening it up to other groups besides my keen thing for werewolves. Speaking of which, it is the full moon, so we'll have to make it a quick podcast. My name's Ian Iliona. I'm an environmentalist, a human rights activist, werewolf, mutant, sorcerer supreme, proud owner of Mars Now, the space agency, Green Future Go, non-profit for conservation of mutants, werewolves, and vampires. Oh, and veteran gamers too. I own that one. So there will probably be a veteran gamers event after the Werewolf Academy. It'll be on Eventbrite. So if you are actually interested in attending a meetup for fellow gamers, where you can join in on things like Fortnite, Dead by Daylight, Apex Legends, Monster Hunter World, my favorite, or whatever, or even do some tabletop games. That will be available. It'll be a catered event. I'll sponsor that. So I will give details for that, and it'll be autism friendly. So if anything becomes too much, I will provide a space for those who are on the spectrum to decompress and then rejoin when they feel. I hope to see you on the next podcast.